I've always had this passion for wanting to do something creative, whether it was in food or entertainment or film. I've been in the investment management business, the finance side of things, for almost 30 years. I had this idea of going into, restaurant cooking. I realized at some point it was time to do it. Part of the reason was, my father passed away 10 years ago, and then reflecting on that and saying, oh, well, when he passed away, I really was I'm only like 20 years away from that, and this was my chance to do it. It was kind of part of my evolution and reinventing myself. Chifa is a combination of Peruvian and Chinese dishes. And the Chinese dishes, again, is from both sides of my family and my wife's family. And then the Peruvian part is when my wife's family moved from Hong Kong to Peru, they picked up Peruvian recipes.
After 45 years, we open again.
So in the early 70s, my mother-in-law also had a restaurant called Chifa.
I had very good business in Peru.
When they immigrated here, they gave up everything, but I think they've always wanted to find a way to come back and relaunch it. For her, it's been a journey. She's here every day, bring things, take a look at things, and during service days, she's definitely here to, meet customers. We definitely went into this not knowing that the pandemic was going to hit. The quarantine hit just after we got the permit to start construction. We were caught in the middle of it, and I think the only way we could go is to move forward. I had retired from my previous job. This is my livelihood. We had to continue the best we could. This is really a family business. My daughter works right alongside me on the cook line. Our youngest son does the expediting. The guys who work on the cook line, they all went to high school together.
They work so hard, but I'm so proud of them.
Because it was tight-knit and people that we know. And I think that was one way that we've kept ourselves sort of somewhat insulated. I can imagine in the pre-pandemic world, it was always rush, deadline, and sometimes it's not always the best thing to rush everything. For me, I think patience is a virtue, and there's always a silver lining to, challenges that come up.
My name is Rachel Sabatine. I'm the owner and founder and chief operating officer of Around the Horn Brewing Company. The name Around the Horn comes from the gold rush. If you were a gold seeker trying to get to California from the East Coast, one of the routes you could take was going on a boat down around the tip of South America, Cape Horn, and going back up to San Francisco. So you were going around the Horn, but Horn is also my maiden name. When we decided really that we were going to pursue this dream, that was in late 2016. I do love beer, and that's part of it, but the other part of it is this place, this community. We're located in Groveland, California, which is about 25 miles from Yosemite National Park. It's beautiful all the time. The traffic I have is when the deer are crossing the road. I just love kind of the small town. The people are amazing. We looked at probably every property possible in this area. We secured our location, and then COVID hit. This was a many years long process, and by the time a pandemic hit, we were, 95% of the way there. There was a day where we asked ourselves if we should stop. We already had one bank loan, but we hadn't closed on the second bank loan yet. It was days away, and my husband and I were like, are we making a mistake? We're already in debt, but are we gonna put ourselves even more in debt for no reason whatsoever? But we went forward with it. I'm really glad we did. One of the first beers we ever made last year was called I'm Fine, Everything's Fine, and that was how I felt. It was chaotic. For us having the beer garden, it's perfect because we have all this nice space where people can spread out and such. So all of this has been for the last almost year just constant change, and constantly being adaptable and adjusting, but I think we're pulling it off. And I think when we had to have the shutdown, when it was takeout only, that was really hard because we had to have hard conversations with our staff and just figure out, you know, do you guys all want to each work 1 day a week? Or do you want to all go on unemployment? Like, what is going to work best for you and your families? Because, you know, we have people with kids and people who are helping take care of their parents and stuff like that, and feeling like, you know, we couldn't help support them to support their loved ones. That was hard. The way our community played a role for us in the last year, they just showed up, you know, all the time. It's amazing. Like, it really makes me happy and super grateful that they want to support us and they make this conscious effort to do so.
A bookstore is the same word as community.
How are you doing today?
If you have a thriving community, you will have a thriving bookstore.
Be a weather watcher. 你有没有看到说在教不同的语言？
I wanted to have an inclusivity here at the bookstore where everyone feels welcome. My dream came true. The book Jewel is named after my mom. Her name is Jewel, and she was a lover of books and encouraged me to read.
Hi, I'm Karen.
Every time I walk through the door, it's almost like I can't believe that this is really here, that we really did it. Our grand opening was in the middle of a pandemic, August 29th last year, 2020. Sean, our bookstore manager, and I were vacillating. What do we do? We're almost ready. You know, all the construction is finished. The shelves are in, and should we just go for it? And we said yes.
And we wore the masks, and we did curbside service. We did whatever we needed to do to make people feel comfortable about coming. And people came masked up fully with gloves and hand sanitizer, but we were just overjoyed to see people come into a physical space and for a moment kind of lose themselves in that great American activity of shopping. By far the most popular books that we're selling right now since the pandemic, since we opened, are children's books, because all these children for a better part of a year have not been able to go to school with their friends.
So we have this darling kitty that found me, ended up in my garage, and I was trying to find the cat a home, and Sean and I were here at the store, and I told him the story. He goes, well, we should have a mascot cat here. He came up with the name Pages. So now we have this draw of people that come to the store just to see the cat. Sweet. So I'm in the business of buying buildings and selling buildings every so often. And so for me, it was necessary to be the owner.
I think it's a really pretty addition to
We needed to own the building in order to make this happen. We realized that it was going to be a big challenge. People were not even stepping out of their homes last August very much. But those who did, they walked in the store and they said, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. We can do something different than watching TV or than the internet, or we can actually read a book that will vicariously take us to Hawaii or Costa Rica or give us something else to do with our lives besides sitting at home.
There was a little bit of fear in the community about, will I have a job next, in the fall, or will the money run out? All kinds of things like that people bring with them to the store. And so what the store was a place where it's a little bit of a respite, where you can feel confident that we're all going to get through this together.
People definitely have been isolated, and they want to come into a place and feel like they belong. It's really necessary that we offer that.
I'm gonna do like some solar power. Before the pandemic, I was a single mom, a new mom. I was also doing like Uber driving and Postmates, just little odds and ends, just jobs, just to keep myself afloat. Once the pandemic hit, I couldn't work out anymore, so we wanted to pull our bikes out. I pulled mine out. It was a little rusty just because I'd had a kid and I just hadn't ridden for a long time. But I pulled it out, got it repaired, and started riding, and I fell in love all over again. And then my friends wanted to come, and I'm like, come on, let's go. And more people came, and then I looked up and I had 100 people behind me on a Tuesday night. In the beginning, right around the time we started riding, I noticed that a lot of people who wanted to come ride with us didn't have bikes. They wanted to know, how do I get a bike? And so I found a place that had bikes, and I took my savings and I bought 3 of them, and I posted on my social media that I had bikes for sale, and they sold immediately. And the whole time I knew I needed a shop. I just wanted the best one, and I wanted it to be the perfect shop. 2 years later, here we are back with the bike shop, with a thriving bike shop, and back at this lot where I wanted to open a car wash 2 years ago. So it's just kind of come full circle, and I'm forever grateful. Cycling has always been a great sport, but through the pandemic it has picked up. People have realized what a great sport or activity it is. The appeal is the freedom, the exercise, the fun, all at one time. Overland to finish. When I'm on my bike, I forget I'm exercising. When I'm with 100 of my friends following me on a regular ride, I forget I'm exercising, and it's just fun. And we're on a bike. Everyone pretty much knows how to do it, and it's just one thing we have in common that brings us all together.